Navy SEAL sick of porch pirates builds the perfect trap. Whenever he went outside and looked at the porch, he saw that someone had taken things without asking. This made him feel more and more frustrated because his money was being wasted. One day, he heard a loud noise and a scream. He leaned back and smiled slowly, feeling content. In the United States, 1 out of every 3 packages delivered to people's homes never actually reaches them. This isn't because of problems with the Postal Service or dishonest sellers. It's because of porch pirates who can't resist the urge to steal packages left unattended on hardworking people's porches. Arthur Russell had had enough of this. Arthur was a fair and disciplined person, having learned self-control during his time as a police officer. He was modest and had worked hard for everything he owned, only for someone else to boldly take his belongings as if they were entitled to them. The first time it happened, Arthur was angry. By the second, third, and fourth times, he was furious. These thieves had stolen various things from him while he was at work, from small items like toilet paper to expensive car parts for his Jeep. Arthur had tried to do the right thing by reporting the thefts to the police, but they weren't interested in helping him. Frustrated by his losses, he decided to take matters into his own hands. After multiple calls to the police and getting no joy, Arthur got to work to create the ultimate revenge box. The next person who decided to go sidewalk shopping with a 5-finger discount on his porch would have another thing coming. You see, unfortunately for them, Arthur had a unique set of skills and a rather unusual hobby. Arthur is a former Navy SEAL specializing in unconventional warfare. To carry out dangerous missions, he had undergone grueling training, both physical and mental. This had left him with a heart and mind that ran on calculation and determination. In his spare time, he also enjoyed building booby traps. When the porch pirates messed with Arthur, they didn't know that they were creating a perfect storm. He started to build a very complicated box, but after some time, he decided he wanted a simpler approach. The trap had a snare that he modified to almost be like a Chinese finger trap, but he wasn't happy with the result. He wanted more, but in a different way. He wanted the thief to regret ever crossing him. I was thinking, how could I scare them and make them drop my package and then never come to my front porch again? Arthur recalls. He thought about it long and hard. His #1 goal was to give them the fright of their life, but not hurt them in any way. The cops would only complicate things. He drew draft after draft until he felt that it was perfect. He took out the snares and opted for something more explosive. He scrapped the original idea entirely and started working on a new idea. After writing lists of what he could do, it dawned on him he'd just have to rate it correctly so no one got hurt. Arthur made a list of supplies and went into the hardware store to get everything that he had to put into this revenge box. As he left, he felt like the cashier was watching him. Did they suspect what he was doing? He understood how it probably looked, but why would he care? He didn't have to explain anything to them, and they could make any assumptions they liked, even if they turned out to be true. Arthur spent the rest of the day putting together his device and making a box look like an official goods package. When Arthur finished, he stood back and looked at his masterpiece with delight. He took it to his backyard for a test drive and laughed in excitement when it did just what he engineered it to. He tested it again, this time covering his ears. The first one left them ringing. He tested it over and over again to make sure it was reliable, and it was. There was just one more piece left to make it all come together. Arthur got in the car and drove to the nearest store to get a security camera. There was no escaping him now. Arthur returned home and installed a doorbell cam so that he could see the thief's face while he was at work. The footage didn't disappoint. Now all that was left to do was lay down his trap and wait. Just as he expected, he didn't have to wait very long. That evening, as he sat on his couch, he caught his first victim. The doorbell cam shows the unsuspecting victim audaciously strolling right up to Arthur's front door. Arthur watched eagerly from his phone. He was sitting on the edge of the seat. He couldn't believe that a thief could look so casual before committing a crime. To his surprise, it's a woman. Arthur watched in amazement as the woman approaches. She goes to ring the doorbell to check if anyone is home, but is spooked by the motion sensor light. She walks away from the door. Then Arthur notices a getaway vehicle in the background. The man inside eggs her on, telling her to turn around. With the person waiting in the getaway car growing impatient, the woman goes back to the house, takes a last look around, and grabs the package. Boom! The woman screams and runs back to the getaway car so fast that Arthur ends up with her cell phone. Poetic justice, he sits back and smirks. What had he done? Arthur's box is genius in its simplicity. The box contains a plate that holds back a firing pin, which is connected to a string that's secured to his doorknob. When the box is lifted or pulled, the plate moves enough to allow the firing pin to set off a 12-gauge shotgun blank. But was it legal? State law forbids anyone from assembling explosive devices without a valid license. Even though it's a blank, the way the device is made is actually illegal, said police spokeswoman Loretta Cool. The police don't think that Arthur's boombox was a good idea at all. If the would-be package thief is hurt in any way, the homeowner would be responsible, she continued. Even more than him crossing the line, I'm not sure if people realize that even though this person is stealing something, he can't intentionally set them up to be hurt. Cool explained she also said that Arthur's man-trap could also be a crime itself, but it would be up to the Porch Pirates to lay criminal charges, something that hasn't been done. Although the box is terrifying, Arthur says it's perfectly safe. He told reporters that he's tested it dozens of times, and he even tested it with a ripe tomato inside. It never hurt me once, he explained in an interview. It didn't hurt the tomato in there either, and the contraption has lured more than one thief. Arthur did suggest, however, that if anyone was to copy his idea, they might want to cover their backs first for legal reasons. He learned that it was best to tack up a no trespassing sign and tape a beware note to the box warning people not to move packages from the porch that can protect the homeowner from lawsuits. Arthur knew that the involvement of the cops and the legal discussions around his ploy may have deterred some people from pursuing it further. But Arthur was different. There was no way he was going to stop what he was doing, especially when he was catching criminals red-handed trying to steal from him. He was also confident it was completely safe, and time again, his device proved effective. Arthur set his trap once again, hoping to teach another thief a lesson. Just a few days later, he caught one. Everything went exactly to plan once more. The man sees the porch, runs up to grab the package, and boom! Arthur said with a grin, I know it's not very sophisticated, but there's nothing scarier than a 12-gauge shotgun. Even though the police weren't happy about Arthur's loud invention, they started taking his complaints more seriously. After all, his clever idea had caught a whopping 20 potential thieves. All the cops had to do was look at the pictures on his camera. Arthur does admit that his solution isn't perfect, but he believes it offers something unique, the incredible satisfaction of seeing a thief run away in fear from his property. Arthur and the police even managed to find some porch pirates using the door camera footage after they ran off. As long as thieves keep thinking Arthur's porch is an easy target, the loud boombox will stay right there.